Yeah, early 2000s, I would have been... My God, I'm old. Am I this old? Jesus. Hi guys, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another mukbang. Today you're watching another episode of Munching Mondays, which is my mukbang series. Mukbang is an eating show, so we're gonna eat together and we are going to chat. So if that is your thing, then don't forget to subscribe and also give this video a big thumbs up. So today I have a feast made of just random leftovers like in my freezer. I was like, you know what? I need to use up some stuff. So first I made this delicious creamy butternut squash pasta that is going to be very delicious. I already know it, okay? Very simple. I already showed you guys how to make it, but I will leave the recipe in the description box so that you guys can make it as well. It is so easy. I'm definitely gonna make it again because I didn't realize how easy it would be, okay? And then we have a big salad here, and on the side, of course, I gotta have my veggie protein. This is 2 patties of the Eve's veggie burgers. Again, it was just sitting in my freezer and I had to eat it. My freezer is getting a little out of control, okay? So, that's that. I'm just gonna put a little bit of A1 sauce onto the beautiful Eve's burgers, okay? Let's just do this like so. Wonderful. And also I thought it would be fun to answer some questions. Yes, so I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me any questions, and of course I will answer some of them on Instagram stories as well. By the way, if you're not following me yet on Instagram, don't forget to follow me because I do Q&As there very often, so you can ask me questions on Instagram. But I thought it'd be fun to answer some of them here on my mukbang. Woohoo! But yes, first we're gonna have to have some pasta. Okay, so first I think I need a little bit of salt. I think it needs a bit of salt, and the salt I'm gonna use actually is a truffle salt. If you guys love the taste of truffle, do yourself a favor and get yourself one of these truffle salt things. There's also truffle oil you could buy. Now this truffle salt thing, it's not cheap, but this thing I've had for like months and I've barely used it. So I feel like it lasts like forever, which is great, and I just love it, you know? So I just put it on top of my lovely butternut squash. Why is truffle so good? Anyways, okay, we're gonna dig in. Ooh. Oh, it's so creamy. I was a bit worried because I didn't have enough cashews, and I was like, maybe it's not gonna be as creamy. But butternut squash pulled through. I put some parsley on top. Guys. Ooh, look at that. First bite, cheers. My friends, that is delicious. It's very simple, creamy, yet delicious. Right. More truffle salt. More truffle salt. Oh. See, the truffle salt is so great because then you can like put it on your fries. You can make truffle fries at home. I'll link the one that I got here in the description box down below so you guys can get it if you want. So, a little bit of the lovely veggie burger and a little bit of the pasta. Let's make this happen. Pasta, veggie burger. Pasta, why are you so good? To drink, I got some grapefruit bubbly, of course. Got myself a fancy glass. Alright guys, so should we go into question numero uno? I haven't even looked at these. Okay. Do you think vegans should be friends with non-vegans? Well, if I didn't think so, then I would be a hypocrite. Yes, I do think vegans should be friends with non-vegans for multiple reasons. First of all, I mean, logistically speaking, if you were only friends with vegans, most vegans would not have any friends at all, okay? Like, I get the sentiment of the person that's asking, because the person that's asking is probably thinking, because eating animals is wrong, ethically speaking, if you have friends that eat animals, then therefore the conclusion is that they are unethical people. Now, I don't subscribe to this belief necessarily. I don't even know if there are ethical and unethical people. I think most of the time we are just shaped by our environment, our surroundings, and what we are socially accustomed to. So I don't believe that if you're not vegan, you are an evil person. Now, obviously, if you believe this, like if you believe that somebody that's not vegan is evil, then you're probably gonna have a hard time being friends with them. But the fact is that most people are not vegan. Most people have not even been exposed to this message. And we live in a world that is still very predominantly non-vegan. So, if history tells us anything, the majority of people will just follow what is the status quo and what is normalized. Now, you can agree or disagree if you think that that itself is unethical, like to just follow the status quo. But that is just what happens, usually. For example, let's look at like gay rights, right? Even just 10 years ago, it was very popular to be like, maybe not 10 years ago, but it was like a much more prevalent idea that gay people should not be able to get married, for example. Let's say it was 20 years ago. A lot of people held this belief. Now, it's very different. Does that mean that most people now are all of a sudden extremely ethical people, and the people back then were just incredibly unethical or incredibly homophobic? I mean, it is homophobic, but you know what I mean? Like, does it mean right now the people that are for, you know, supporting gay rights, does that mean they are inherently better people? One could argue yes, but also one could argue that it's just more popular now to be pro-LGBTQ, right? So even the most ridiculously conservative people now that have very backwards beliefs will still at least pretend to be pro-gay because that's the kind of popular stance. I don't know why I went on this tangent. God, I should make my own food more often. This is so good. So long story short, even though I just went on the long story, my personal view is that people are not evil because they're not vegan. It is difficult for people to go vegan in today's day and age. And my view is actually, it is better for us to have non-vegan friends. I mean, I don't want to say that. It's better for us to be open-minded to having friends of all, you know, backgrounds, okay? So I think it's great to have vegan friends because, you know, it makes you feel not so alone. It makes you feel supported. It makes you feel like you're not crazy, okay? But it also is great to have non-vegan friends because not only do you not get stuck in some kind of, I guess, ideological bubble, but also you can influence them. You know what I mean? Like when you have friends that are not vegan, you can introduce them to vegan foods, veganism, vegan ideology, vegan thought processes, and just get them to think a little bit more as well. And also your friendship should not change really. Like I have friends that are not vegan, of course. Okay, most of my friends are not vegan, but they're respectful. They try vegan food with me. Most of them probably would not have tried any vegan food. I mean, you know what I mean? Like deliberately vegan food if it weren't for me. So, and who knows how many of those people are listening to your message or just seeing what you're doing, you know? You never know who you are influencing. So in conclusion, yes, it is absolutely okay for vegans to be friends with non-vegans. My family is not vegan, my friends are not vegan, and that is okay. I have very few friends that are vegan, even though I am literally like living, breathing vegan. Like I'm a professional vegan, as I say, and I still have tons of non-vegan friends. And this is how you change the world, right? You can't change the world when you are just like isolating yourself. That's one thing that you need to realize. Like if you actually want to make a positive impact, unfortunately, you're gonna have to cross paths with people that maybe you don't even want to cross paths with. But that is the reality. We are social beings. Ooh, that was a very long answer to a question. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this one is an interesting one. Is having pets / fur babies vegan? Very interesting question. Did I put some of this already? So first of all, I think the idea of pets and having companion animals is very complicated, because there are certain animals that we have now, at this point in time, have already domesticated, okay? Dogs, certain cats. Certain cats are definitely domesticated, right? I really don't know anything about cats, but there are certain... Why is it dark? Is it dark? Is that better? Anyway, okay. Is that better? Sometimes I wish I was like on a live so you guys can tell me. Anyways, what was I saying? So it's a very complicated issue in my opinion. I think that there is no black or white answer. But the fact of the matter is, we have domesticated certain animals that they have to rely on us for their survival. So dogs are a big example of that. So right now at this moment of time, if you get a dog in the way that I believe you should get a dog, which is adopting a dog and other animals like this, if you adopt an animal at this moment, yes, this is vegan. This is the definition of vegan. You are helping an animal that is already here. Now, that being said, let me have a bite. That being said, guys, if you buy an animal, I do believe you are contributing to a bigger harm. So I have to sneeze. If you buy an animal from a breeder that is breeding animals for us to have them as pets, then we are treating animals as a commodity. Therefore, I mean, and also because of other reasons, buying an animal is not vegan because it is doing more harm than good, especially in a world where there are, I don't know how many, abandoned dogs and cats and other animals that need homes. So when you buy an animal, you are feeding into that and you are creating a bigger demand for animals to be bought and sold, therefore creating more abandoned animals and potentially, you know, causing more animals to die needlessly. So now in the future, let's say that, you know, the breeding issue is no longer an issue. And now dogs rightfully have a home. All dogs have a home. We're no longer using animals as a commodity. Then in that case, that is a different conversation. It is a different conversation. There's a conversation of, do we continue to breed these domesticated animals? Or do we stop interfering altogether, you know, with their breeding process? Because right now we're spaying and neutering a lot of these animals, which that's another discussion. Right now it makes sense to spay and neuter these animals because number one, again, they're under our dependency. They're depending on us. Second, there is an overpopulation problem with these animals. We could say the same thing about humans, but nobody wants to castrate humans. Well, that's another topic. So I think that's a discussion that could be had in the future. Current discussion is the rate of animals being abandoned, abused is too high at this moment. So I would encourage, actually, I think it's very vegan to adopt animals. And yes, there are selfish elements to that, 1000%, of course. You know, you don't just adopt animals just because you're like, oh, I just want to be a good person. You adopt animals because you love animals and you want to live by them, and dogs are the best thing in the world. So that's why you adopt animals. But at least you're adopting animals and not buying them. Does that make sense? Next. What are your favorite podcasts aside from the SaVeg podcast? Of course, by the way, if you don't know, I have a podcast with my friend Daniel and we talk about the latest trending topics, our opinions on so many different things. Check it out. Link is down below for you to listen. And it's like very long form content. You get me, a different side of me. Okay, well, maybe not a different side, but a more free and open side of me. So aside from my podcast, so I would say that I go through phases and I listen to certain podcasts a lot and then I move on to something else. But currently, my current favorite is actually called SaVeg Lovecast. Yes, so this one is by a guy named Dan SaVeg, and he basically like answers people's questions about like love, sex, relationships. And it's really interesting because Dan SaVeg is like a gay man in a polygamous relationship or an open relationship. However he wants to define it, I'm not exactly sure. And he's a proponent of, you know, people having different types of relationships, whether it be monogamy, polygamy, open relationships, whatever it is. And I find his takes really interesting and also very forward thinking, and it's very entertaining. They talk about like all kinds of things. There's like no limits. Yeah, that's what I've been listening to like non-stop. So that's my current thing. But right now I'm not really listening to anything else. So, I also like a podcast by some of my favorite political commentators, I guess you could say. It's called Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. So, it's with Kyle Kulinski from Secular Talk and Crystal Ball from, I think, The Hill? Anyway, they're both like political commentators on YouTube, and they have a podcast together. So I sometimes listen to that one. But aside from that, I don't listen to too much else. But if there's anything you guys want to recommend, let me know. Ooh! I also listened to the Bearded Vegans a couple times, and I'm planning to listen to more of their episodes. So that's another one if you like vegan topics of discussion, the Bearded Vegans, which I'm pretty sure some of you guys recommend it. So thank you. Yummy. Guys. Have you encountered any anti-maskers at your cafe? What happened? No, actually. I have not, which is very fortunate. Now, to be fair, we do have a little takeout window now. By the way, if you don't know, I have a cafe, a vegan cafe. Information down below, okay? I've never experienced anti-maskers, and I haven't heard of my employees or anyone experiencing anti-maskers. But also, we've actually created like a little takeout window where people can actually pick up orders and also place orders at the window from outside. So they don't actually have to come in. So that could be a way to, I guess, mitigate the potential anti-mask situation. Although, of course, you know, it would be best if they were also wearing a mask from the outside too. But obviously, if they're not inside, you don't have to mandate masks. So that could be why there hasn't been. But also, our customers are just, they're just smart, you know? They're more progressive, you know? So maybe I'm biased, who knows? Well, luckily, no. Also, guess who's getting the vaccine today? Me! I'm getting my vaccine today, guys. Whoop, whoop. Well, the first dose. Of Pfizer, which is the one that you only have to get one dose. Ugh. Anyway, I'm getting Pfizer today. I know. I am excited for all this to be over. I've seen all of you guys in the States just partying it up, having a great time. Just, it's not fair. This is a big bowl of pasta. I made like, I think 1.5 servings. Cheers. Next. What is your opinion on fake meat that tastes and feels like the real thing but don't have any protein? By not having any protein, I imagine that this person means like low protein, because most things have just a little bit of protein at least, okay? But, I mean, here's the thing. Food is not just about how much protein there is, the macronutrients, the calories. Yes, those things are important. You know, those measures are important, absolutely. But it's not the only thing that matters. Let's say you just really want to eat a meat alternative that is vegan friendly, that tastes like meat, that feels like meat. And most vegan alternatives that taste and feel like meat do have protein, FYI, okay? Do have a substantial protein amount. For example, this thing is pretty high in protein. But there are certain cases, right? Like, for example, I always talk about how certain things, certain ingredients are used for meat substitutes, like mushrooms, for example, or jackfruit, or what else is used for a meat substitute that's actually convincing? Yeah, mushrooms and jackfruit, kind of convincing. So those things are used as a meat substitute. So I don't have a problem with people using those things if it, you know, makes them happy and it tastes good, like, good on you. My only issue is when people have no idea about the kind of nutritional value of certain things. It's not a bad thing to eat something that's low in protein, but all I'm saying is if you're going to just eat that, then you might want to add in some other type of protein source or something to make your meal more satiating and satisfying, okay? That's my perspective, because personally for me, And everyone's a little bit different when it comes to this, but for me, if I don't add some kind of like substantial, high protein, plant-based source into my meals, I get hungry very quickly. Even if I have a big meal that was sufficient in calories, if I don't have a sufficient amount of protein myself, I get hungry very quickly, which is not good for me because I don't want to be eating 24/7, even though I just ate. So I don't want to be hungry after eating a meal. I want to be satisfied and good. So I am not against people eating whatever they need to eat. If it's vegan, if it tastes great, if it feels like meat, if it tastes like meat, fantastic, eat it. But if it's really low in calories or low in protein and it's not really gonna give you that much sustenance in your meal, that's something that you should know about a little bit so that you're not setting yourself up for failure. Because one of the biggest things, and I talk about this all the time, one of the biggest complaints that people have when it comes to a plant-based diet is that they're always hungry, always hungry. So it really kills me when, vegans just dismiss the idea of protein altogether and they're just like, just eat enough calories and you'll get enough protein. Like, what about how you feel when you eat those calories? Like, does that not matter? Does it not matter that somebody just told you that they get hungry after a meal? That's something serious to take note. So because I don't want you to be hungry after a meal, I want you to feel satisfied and full and good and happy, I would advise you to look at what you're eating and see if you are, making sure you're making the right substitutions. Be aware, okay? What are your favorite and least favorite vegan destinations in Canada? Interesting question. Well, my favorite vegan destinations. Let me think. Is it Vancouver or is it Toronto? To be fair, in Canada, we don't have that many like huge cities. I guess that's normal. My favorite would probably be Toronto. Although Vancouver was pretty good too. Toronto or Vancouver? I'm gonna say Toronto. My favorite is probably Toronto, but I don't know what my least favorite is because I really just haven't, I haven't ventured out so much. And most big cities are like pretty decent, I think. And even my city is getting pretty good. So, yeah, probably any like small town would probably be my least favorite vegan destinations because there's probably going to be nothing. Like rural Alberta. So Alberta is the province I live in. So anywhere outside of like Calgary or Edmonton would probably be like not that great for vegans because they're like small towns, and also because this province is known for beef. Yeah, I know. I live in the beef province, FML. But when it comes to major cities, they're pretty good. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to Montreal. I went back in like 2011? Wait, yeah. Oh my God, it's been 10 years. This is pre-going vegan, but I was like starting to quit meat and stuff. It's been 10 years, guys. Oh my God, why does time fly by? Why? When I was in Montreal in 2011, I wasn't vegan, but I was like I had already quit eating meat. I think I had quit at this point eating dairy and eggs. So I ate a lot of vegan meals. I remember going there and I'm pretty sure there was some pretty decent places. And again, if I went there again, I'm sure it'd be different. It's been 10 years, so I'm sure it's grown a lot. So maybe Montreal is my favorite city, who knows? But I haven't been in a long time. Hopefully, after I'm fully vaccinated, I can do a little traveling again. Epic. You guys, that was so good. Should I answer one more? Let's do one more. Do you like K-pop? So K-pop, if you don't know, if you're living under a rock, K-pop stands for Korean pop. and it's basically Korean music, but it's like popularized Korean music, okay? So not just like, not traditional Korean music, it's like, you know, modern day Korean music. It has skyrocketed in popularity over the last few years. And I get this question quite often, actually. Do you listen to K-pop? Do you listen to K-pop? Listen, guys, I listened to K-pop before you were born, okay? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe some of you, actually. So when I liked K-pop, I was the weirdo that listened to this random music in a foreign language that nobody understood and everyone thought I was weird. That was my experience. So I was clearly born in the wrong generation, because now the kids, the teenagers are all listening to K-pop, and it's like very popularized and very normal to listen to this music that most people don't understand the words of. But when I was listening to K-pop, it was definitely not as worldwide popular. So I used to be very into K-pop, but I don't even know if most people would know the artists that I used to listen to, because again, I listened to K-pop like way back in the day. So when I was 13, 14 is when I was like peak K-pop stan is what you people might call it nowadays. I was obsessed with K-pop. I would try and buy, and at that time, just to age myself, at that time they didn't have like, you know, Spotify, YouTube, they didn't have any of that. So in order for me to listen to my Korean music, my K-pop, all the way from Canada, what did I have to do? What did I do? I obviously like illegally downloaded a bunch of music because I couldn't even buy it. Like I wanted to buy the albums. So whenever I would visit Korea, I would buy CDs. Yes, you guys remember CDs? Yeah, that was a thing. So I would buy some CDs then. And so I would like listen to those CDs over and over again. Like those CDs, the songs in those CDs, I can probably still recite the lyrics because I listened to them so much at the time, because again, we didn't have Spotify where we have like an endless amount of music that we could listen to. So I could just, you know, listen to one CD over and over again. So I would buy CDs. I would also burn CDs. I burned a lot of CDs. I probably have like 3 CD books, CD, you know, container, what do you call them? CD booklets, whatever they're called. I probably have like 3 or 4 back in my parents' house of just burned CDs of like old school K-pop music, because you could only fit like, I think like around 18 to 20 tracks into each CD. So you have to be like very, you know, how do I say it? Very strategic as to what songs you want to put on your CD, okay? Those songs are special. If I want to put it on my CD, it is a special song, okay? So I would do that. So yeah, I did listen to K-pop at that time. I no longer really would say that I listen to K-pop. I listen to like old school K-pop. If I do listen to it, I'm one of those now, guys. I have become an old person that listens to old school music. I remember when I was young and my parents would listen to like, you know, the music of their generation, and it's like, you know, 30-year-old music or 20-year-old music. I'm like, ew, it's so old. And now I'm doing the same thing. So yeah, the K-pop I listened to was back in like early 2000s. Yeah, because I was, yeah, early 2000s, I would have been, my God, I'm old. Am I this old? Jesus. Yeah, early 2000s was about, what, 20 years ago? And I would have been like 12, 13. If you didn't know how old I was, you now know. Okay, if you can do a little math. So yeah, I listened to, I don't know if you guys know, okay, give me a shout if you do, Shinhwa. Okay, Shinhwa was my jam. I was like full on obsessed, full on fangirl. Shinhwa was a boy band. They still like technically exist as like a band. I don't know what they're doing. I'm old now, they're old. Some of them are married, you know, we're all just, you know. Yeah, Shinhwa. There was also like BoA. BoA, you guys know BoA? Okay. There was HOT, SES, the original K-pop idols, okay? So yeah, that was my experience with K-pop. Now if you told me a bunch of K-pop, you know, groups, I would not know. The only ones I know of are BTS. What's the girl group? Oh God, what is the girl group? Blackpink, there you go. BTS, Blackpink, and I think that's it. That's it. So long story short, I used to listen to K-pop when I was younger and when it was not cool, okay? I listened to it before it was cool, guys, okay? So I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoyed this mukbang and this Q&A. Let me know if you enjoyed this Q&A style mukbang because I could do more of these, okay? So yeah, let me know down below your thoughts. Give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, of course, don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!